Today I'm reading the chapter Growing Up out of What We Leave Behind by Jensen and McVeigh. Probably have an interruption here, somebody coming through the door. You'll have to excuse me briefly while, I live my life. If that happens. Okay, thanks. The disappearance of a sense of responsibility is the most far-reaching consequence of submission to authority. Stanley Milgram. The world is a dangerous place, not because of those who do evil, but because of those who look on and do nothing. That was Albert Einstein. I heard he's pretty smart. We have not passed that subtle line between childhood and adulthood until we move from the passive voice to the active voice. Sidney J. Harris. It is easy to dodge our responsibilities, but we cannot dodge the consequences of dodging our responsibilities. Josiah Charles Stamp. This chapter is Growing Up, again in the book What We Leave Behind by Derrick Jensen and Eric McVeigh. Some people aren't children, aren't magical thinkers, aren't so afraid of what daddy will think that they cannot openly acknowledge and act on their love and concern for the natural world, aren't so afraid of the pain of despair that they must avoid looking at the horror that is this culture, aren't so afraid that they cannot face this culture and our predicament head on. They recognize that this culture is irredeemable and that having orgasms or taking off one's clothes or putting plants on truck factories or having conferences on sustainability that avoid the two primary preconditions for sustainability, the land comes first and we need to stop these motherfucking psychopaths no matter what it takes, is utterly insufficient to the crisis confronting us. There are not merely some people who feel this, but many, with numbers increasing every day. And some of them write to me. These more empowered and honest emails outnumber the others by a ratio of probably 20 to 1. I want to share one of these honest emails now, in great measure because it so well articulates the pain and confusion of the process of breaking. A process I've been through so many times, a process gone through by so many people I know, an almost unnecessary part of the... I'm sorry, excuse me. I'll just start over. I want to share one of these honest emails now, in great measure because it so well articulates the pain and confusion of the process of breaking, a process I've been through so many times, a process gone through by so many people I know, an almost necessary part of the questioning and confusion and pain and sorrow crucial to growing up and leaving this culture behind. I had never heard from this woman before. She wrote, I got up this morning and worried that my pants were far too wrinkled to wear to work, which happens to be a public school. At that moment I had a flash of who I have become. I wish that I could merely worry about the socially acceptable wrinkliness of my pants. But what I want more than pressed pants is answers. Answers that are detailed, specific, hardcore descriptions of what I need to do to fix things. Here's my issue. I work with kids every single day. I feel like there's a giant monster among us. As a matter of fact, right in front of us, our kids live in its shadow each day. I'm beginning to view our kids as the shadow of the monster's kids, in the most unconscious and Jungian sense. You'll also have to excuse me, I don't know all the words. I learned from Noam Chomsky today that I know in the tens of thousands of words. I wonder if humans reach 100,000 words. I bet it levels off. And I bet it varies depending on the structure of the language. Here's my first issue. I work with kids every single day. I feel like there's a giant monster among us. As a matter of fact, right in front of us, our kids live in its shadow each day. I'm beginning to view our kids as the shadow of the monster kids, in the most unconscious and Jungian sense. Question: why do we have a generation of kids who cut Sorry, I moved over there against the door.
Okay.
Question: why do we have a generation of kids who cut, pierce, burn, choke, and do a multitude of self-destructive behaviors? They say they do it to feel something, anything, to help solve problems, to get a high, and to get attention. Attention from friends, families, counselors, teachers, anyone willing to give it. Where did our sense of connection, our sense of honoring self, body, mind, and soul go? When did self-harm become a form of expression and or blatant and crazed addiction? What's missing? How did we get here? Please tell me how to get out of here. Question. Why is it that kids come in talking about seeing spirits, dreaming of devil and sensing energy? They read Harry Potter, watch Ghost Chasers, and play zombie video games. But when they approach us with these visions, we wonder if they are schizo. How can I help them frame their spiritual existence in a world that is rampant with messages and images of false or fabricated or mediated spirits, but is void and neutered of real conversations about spiritual experiences? How can I remove this taboo?